Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing a luxury beauty haul. So this is kind of like a collective haul. It's not from one specific brand. I've just kind of collected this for a while, and I thought I would do a little haul. So I'm just going to go in a completely random order. So first, I'm going to start with a bronzer that I picked up. So during this Sephora VIB sale, I did pick up this bronzer. This is the Guerlain Terracotta Light Bronzer in the shade 03 Medium Warm. So I was correct in my thoughts that Sephora just mislabeled these bronzers. So 03 is medium warm. I think they had it labeled as, was it medium cool or medium, something like that. But this is the shade medium warm, and it is just a very, very beautiful bronzer. I love that little detailing. There appears, it kind of looks like an overspray, but it's actually not if you rub your fingers over it. And these shades all mixed together. I don't even know if you can see that because it's a really bright day outside. So there's just a little swatch of it here. It's actually not too deep of a bronzer, and it's definitely more warm tone. So I feel like this will be a very buildable bronzer, very similar to the other Guerlain Terracotta bronzers, which are extremely buildable. They don't go on the skin like too pigmented at first. And there's like an ever so soft sheen. But again, no detectable shimmer particles in that, so you're not going to be able to detect the shimmer on the face. I'm assuming. I haven't tried it on my face, just gathering this from a swatch. But it does look beautiful, definitely a warmer, kind of has like some peachy tones. It's not an orange tone bronzer at all, but it is definitely on the warmer side. But again, I really like Guerlain bronzers because they offer these shades in different tones. So if you have a cooler tone, I would definitely suggest picking up a cooler tone bronzer, just because Guerlain does have the tendency to run a little bit on the warmer side. So getting a cooler tone bronzer might be a little more neutral to cooler toned. But I'm really excited to test this one out because I have heard really good things. And then I want to quickly mention some foundations I picked up. So I've kind of been on a bit of a foundation kick just because summer coming up. I definitely want to try out some more matte foundations. I feel like I've been getting more into matte foundations, again, because of the summer weather that's coming up. I know it's going to be really hot outside, and I'm going to want something that's a little bit more longer lasting than my typical dewy foundations. And I just really like how I can manipulate more matte foundations. You can mix them in with other foundations, well, at least some of them you can. So I've just been trying to pick up a few more. So the first foundation that I picked up was the Chanel Ultra Le Teint All Day Comfort Flawless Finish Foundation, and I picked it up in the shade BD41. So I have actually tested this out because I've actually had this for quite a while. Comes in this beautiful kind of glass packaging, which is just stunning. The shade BD41 is definitely my right undertone. It's a touch too dark, but the shade BD31 is also on the lighter side. Honestly, my perfect shade is mixing the BD31 and BD41, but I just figured I'd pick up a deeper one for the summertime, and I would see how I got along with this. And I will, of course, do a video with this, but I do have to say that first impressions of this foundation is this is absolutely stunning for a more matte foundation. It looks very velvety on the skin. It does not look drying or too matte on the skin. It really does a great job of blurring any pigmentation or blurring texture or pores on the skin. And what I really love this for, and what I usually love to do with matte foundations, like you've heard me talk about the Dior Air Flash, how I really love to mix this in with foundations, just to make the other foundations a little bit more longer wearing. And this, again, is perfect for doing that. So I can mix it in with more glowy foundations. And I want to quickly mention, while talking about that, the Chanel No. 1. This is the No. 1 foundation, the Red Camellia Revitalizing Foundation that launched in January. And originally I did not pick this up because this does contain oil. And as someone with extremely sensitive skin, oils just, they never, ever work for me. They always make me break out. I have tried this, okay, now I can't get this out, but I have tried this a few times. If I wear it more than 3 days in a row, I'll get a bit of irritation, but I don't get irritation right off the bat. And I do think this looks beautiful on the skin. When you first apply it, it just looks so skin-like. It looks stunning. It really does a great job. For a more glowy foundation, it really does blur the appearance of texture and pores, which I think is amazing for something that is more on the glowy side. However, as the day goes on, and I would say I can only get about 6 hours wear out of this, and for me, I'm someone, I I work a day job, so I like my foundation to at least last my work hours. This does not, and it doesn't, I say it's not long lasting. It doesn't fall apart or it doesn't completely like separate or crease on the skin, but it does get super, super glowy that it looks greasy on the skin, and I don't really enjoy that. Like if you're wearing this for a very short amount of time, it is beautiful, but my problem is that it's not very long wearing, and I feel like especially in the summer months, it's not going to be very long wearing, but it does look so stunning on the skin within like that first 6 hours. So I do really like it for that reason. And again, it just looks very skin-like. This is about the same coverage as like a tinted moisturizer, and that's kind of my favorite coverage level. But then I figured, actually the first thing I tried was mixing the Air Flash in with the Chanel No. 1. This combination is beautiful together, and adding the Dior Air Flash makes this Chanel foundation a little more long-lasting. And then I saw on Grace's channel from Everyday Edit, she was using these in combination. So she'd use the Chanel No. 1. I think she kind of used it on the perimeter of her skin, and then she applied this on the center of her face. I typically just would rather mix my foundations together just because I feel like sometimes the color is not perfect if you apply it in that way. So I tried mixing these together, and this is beautiful. When you mix in this foundation with the Chanel No. 1, it makes this foundation way more longer wearing, and I can actually wear this combination throughout my workday, and it's beautiful. So this is great. This is the Ultra Le Tint. This is a great mixer because every foundation, more glowy foundation I've tried to mix it in with, it has mixed in beautifully. And again, this is just beautiful on its own, just for a short period of time, not a long wearing foundation in the slightest. But it does look really beautiful on the skin. I really just enjoy this combination together. It gives me that perfect, really beautiful skin-like finish, and I just think this combination is just stunning together. And because both of these are so blurring on the skin, when you mix them together, it really gives that beautiful blurred effect. This one doesn't look like heavy makeup on the skin, but it's not as undetectable on the skin as this one. So I just feel like when you mix these two together, you get that kind of perfect combination. And then I quickly want to mention the Cle De Peau Radiant Fluid Foundation Matte. So if you don't know, the Cle De Peau Radiant Fluid Foundation Natural is one of my favorite foundations. I've listed it as like my top 10 foundation in my top 10 list. So I decided to try the matte version because, like I said, I have been really enjoying more matte foundations lately. I have to say that in comparison between these two, I really do prefer the Chanel one over this Cle De Peau. So I will tell you my issues with this Cle De Peau. For me, this looked a little bit more makeup-y on the skin. So for this Cle De Peau foundation, I did get the shade BF40, which is light tan buff. They sold out of my shade in the shade 030, and they don't have the shade 040 in this formula. So I just decided to try this. Now I will say this foundation is the wrong color on me. It is too deep. For me, this is just too yellow and a bit too deep. So I figured, okay, well I can mix it in with other foundations. This does not mix well with other foundations in comparison to like my Dior Air Flash or the Chanel one. I don't know why, but it just doesn't mix together that great. So that's a little disappointing. I just figured I would keep this so that I could use it for its mixing capabilities, but unfortunately it doesn't mix that well. And then it is a little bit heavy on the skin, again, in comparison to this foundation. And I was trying to compare it to like my Chantecaille, the Cushion foundation, because that kind of has a similar finish to this foundation here. And then in comparison to something like the Sisley Phyto-Taunt foundation, this one I prefer more for that matte kind of velvety finish as well. This one, it looked nice on my skin. It definitely got better as I wore it like 4 hours into the day. It did start to kind of sink into my skin, but this just kind of sat on top of my skin a little bit. And then the thing that I really disliked the most about this foundation is that it transfers so easily. This is one of the worst foundations I have ever experienced for transferring. Even the other Cle De Peau foundation, the Radiant Fluid Foundation Natural, does not transfer as much as this one. This transferred like crazy, which I just don't really love in a foundation. And I felt like I could feel it on my skin. So for that reason, this is not one of my favorites. If you're looking for a more matte foundation, I'd suggest the Chantecaille one. I'd suggest the Chanel Ultra Le Tint. I really, really like this. And then the Sisley Phyto-Taunt. I think this is a better matte foundation as well. So a little disappointed with this one. But I also don't have oily skin, so I probably am the wrong demographic to be trying out that foundation. if you have oily skin, I feel like this would actually probably work really well for you. It might melt into your skin more, but I have dry skin, so it just didn't do a great job of melting into my skin. And then the other Cle De Peau product that I picked up during the Sephora VIB sale is the Cle De Peau Brightening Enhancer Veil. And this I really, really wanted to love again. So I do want to say that it looks beautiful on the skin. It really reminds me of the Chantecaille Smoothing Primer, the one with the SPF, because it smooths out the skin. It really blurs out your skin. It gives you kind of that filtered effect on your skin. The things I don't like about it is that it is very brightening, so it gives you an extreme white cast. So you can't use this on its own as like just kind of a blurring primer if you're someone that doesn't like foundation, because it really gives you one of the most extreme white casts. As someone who has sensitive skin, my skin's kind of a little bit more pink to begin with, and I just don't love the pink tone of this. I wish this had more of like a beigey tone. But it is brightening. If you're someone that really needs brightening on your skin, this gives you like quite a lot of brightness. And again, like I said, I really do love how blurring it is on the skin. But the problem I had with this one is it melts into the skin eventually. It feels a little bit greasy, like borderline greasy. But if you leave it on the skin for 10 minutes, it does eventually melt in. And then unfortunately for me, this does irritate my skin. And I was trying to figure out what ingredient was irritating my skin, because the ingredients in this they're not terrible by any means. They actually seem like really top-notch ingredients. There is a bit of oil in here and there is some alcohol, so I'm wondering if that is what is irritating my skin. Unfortunately, it irritated my skin right away, so this is something, unfortunately, I can't use because of that. But unfortunately, if you have sensitive skin, I can't recommend this primer just because it did really irritate my skin. But it does have a really great blurring effect on the skin, so if you're someone that really likes that blurred effect and you love a brightening primer and you need that brightness to your skin, then I think this is really lovely. But unfortunately for me, it just did not work out, so that is sad. And then I just have one more complexion product, and this is my favorite sunscreen. I just thought I'd mention it, even though I typically don't mention this stuff when I purchase it. But some of you guys did say you were interested in skincare as well. So this is my favorite SPF. This is the EltaMD Tinted Skincare, and it is an SPF 46. And this is the UV clear version, so it's really good if you have sensitive skin. So this does calm and protect acne-prone skin, and it has some high purity niacinamide, so it's really good if you have like rosacea or really sensitive skin like I do. And it does have a bit of a tint, so I really like to use this for an everyday basis. I don't even need to use foundation over top necessarily. This has extremely light coverage though, so I'll usually go in with like a bit of concealer if I'm wearing it on an everyday basis. But this is just a fantastic SPF if you are someone like me with sensitive skin. Okay, let's move on to some eye products. So the first eye product I picked up, this was actually from a while ago as well, but I really like the Dior single eyeshadows. I have Nude Dress and, oh, what's that one called? It's not Cosmopolite, it's the dupe for that, but I have that one as well. And this is the shade Cashmere. I just decided to try a matte shade because I haven't tried any of the mattes in this formula. This looks kind of like a really nice warm tone. It's like a neutral brown that leans a bit warm. Really nice as like an everyday basic matte shade. And the consistency of this is really nice. It's really creamy in formulation. And it does have quite a bit of pigment to it. So it's a bit on the powdery side. But again, it being powdery doesn't mean it's bad or anything. It's just a more powdery formula. So it's probably going to be a little bit more pigmented. So I thought I would try that out. And then I also picked up from Beautylish a while ago. So when I moved, I used to have the Surratt Beyond Beige palette. I think that's what it's called. And somehow in my move, it got either lost or it broke, or I can't even remember what happened to it. But anyways, I lost it. I can't even remember what I really thought about that eyeshadow formula, which is sad. But I just decided to pick up some more Surratt eyeshadows because a lot of you guys have been suggesting this formula to me and saying it's amazing. And I just couldn't remember how the formula was. But unfortunately, the Beyond Beige palette is like impossible to get. They're always sold out. So I just decided to pick up a few singles and then I would kind of fill up my own palette. So I picked up the shade Griege and Cuivre, which these two shades are in the Beyond Beige palette. And with Surratt eyeshadows, again, you can buy a little palette separately, but then they come in this just kind of packaging that looks like this. and I will test these out. I haven't tested them out yet, but ooh, they're just so smooth and creamy. Really buttery feeling eyeshadows. They have like a decent amount of pigmentation. This Cuivre shade, it's really nice. It has a bit of a sheen to it, but no kind of sparkle or anything. So you can see you get a really nice pigmentation. They feel very smooth and buttery. Really, I feel like these are really great for mature eyes because they don't enhance any texture on the skin. Like they don't emphasize any texture. These are the type of shadows that just kind of melt right in. So I'm really excited to play with these. And then another eyeshadow that I picked up during the Sephora VIB sale, this is the Westman Atelier iPod in the shade Tabac. So Westman Atelier did release this shade as a single. So it's very chunky packaging. Like you get quite a like hefty little container, and it's just like such a small amount of product in there. But I mean, that is, I guess, kind of fancy. Wow, I really don't want to disturb that beautiful imprint of that heart, but I will. Oh, not as creamy initially as I thought it would be. I thought this would be more of a cream to powder. Maybe mine's just like a little dried out, but it doesn't feel as creamy as I thought it would be. But it does go on and look very creamy. Like that gives such a beautiful, really lovely sheen. Nothing metallic about this at all. It's just a very soft, beautiful sheen in that perfect kind of warm bronzy shade that I just love as an everyday shade, as a one and done. Really lovely. There are no detectable shimmer particles. So I feel like I will really enjoy this. So I'm so excited to play with this one because I have heard really good things. And then I also picked up from Sisley. Sisley was doing a 20% off friends and family discount kind of code. And I picked up the Sisley Le Phyto-Ombrés Long-Lasting Radiant Eyeshadow in the shade number 13 Silky Sand. So I have one of the more shimmery shades. I think it's called Glow Gold is the one I have. And while I like Glow Gold, it has quite a bit of shimmer to it. So it's not something that I like to use on like an everyday basis just because it's not like a chunky glitter. It doesn't look like glitter on your eyes, but it's just a bit more shimmery. And you get a bit more fallout than what I'd like on an everyday basis. And I wanted something like extremely neutral, kind of like all these shades that I've just shown you. I seem to be really into that these days. So this is, again, the shade Silky Sand. Really beautiful and neutral. And this is a kind of, it's a cream to powder formula. So, ooh, that is extremely light. I don't even know if you can see that. It like basically, it's the color of my hand essentially, but it just leaves behind a little bit of a sheen. Again, no detectable shimmer chunks or anything. This gives you kind of like a no makeup vibe. I feel like this would be really pretty to just use as a one and done when you don't want it to look like you are wearing eyeshadow and you want something that makes you just look put together, but you don't look over the top. So that's kind of what I thought this shadow would be perfect for. Again, it's not like a spectacular shade or anything. It basically looks like a beige eyeshadow with a shimmer, but I just thought that would be pretty. So I will test this out. Again, this is a really nice formula. This is great if you have more mature eyes. The formula of this is really nice. So I'm excited to test that out. And then I think that, oh no, I have one more eye product. So I also decided to pick up one of my favorite one and done eyeshadows are the Bobbi Brown Luxe eyeshadows, but they reformulated the Luxe shadows and came out with some new shades. So I just decided to pick up one of the shades, and this is the shade Opalescent. So this is supposed to be like a champagne shade. I'd say it's a little bit more gold than like super champagne, but it's definitely a gold leaning champagne. And this is definitely more metallic than all the other, whoa, that is very, very pigmented, than all the other shades that I have mentioned. Very, very pigmented, but that gives a beautiful like wet glossy lid effect, but definitely has more shimmer particles than all the other eyeshadows that I've currently mentioned. Again, I feel like this will be a beautiful one and done, very metallic, but not like chunky glitter metallic, but you just get some more of that separation and shimmer particles. But it really is beautiful, and it doesn't look too intense where I'd be uncomfortable wearing this during the daytime, especially because it is more of that champagne shade. So it's more on the neutral side, so I feel like I would be comfortable wearing this on an everyday basis. It's not as metallic as like the Victoria Beckham single eyeshadows. It kind of reminds me of the Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades, that kind of level of metallic, but really beautiful. I can't wait to test this out. and see it in comparison to the other eyeshadow that I have in this formula. This Bobbi Brown eyeshadow does look super beautiful though, so I can't wait to test it out. As you can see, I'm definitely a fan of like one and done single eyeshadows versus eyeshadow palettes. I'm just not an eyeshadow palette girl. That's not my vibe. I like really easy, effortless stuff that like takes me 5 minutes to do. And then I'm going to move on to some lip products. So first, I picked up a backup of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lip Cheat. I'm not going to go on about my repurchases because you've heard me go on about that. I actually forgot to mention that I got the Giorgio Armani Contour Perfector. It's an eye and lip contour, or a perfector. So you can use this under the eyes or on your lips apparently, underneath your concealer, kind of, I guess you would kind of replace it as like an eye cream. My mom actually picked this up for me because I think she bought this and she really, really enjoyed it. So I'm really excited to test this out. So I hope this will be kind of beneficial as using this as kind of like a concealer primer. I know that a lot of the time we use face primers, but I never usually use anything for under my concealer. So I'm really curious to see how this will work, and I'm excited to try it out because again, I have extremely dry under eyes. So during the Sisley sale, I also picked up the Sisley Phyto-Rouge Shines. This is their sheer color and hydration. So I picked up the shade number 20, which is Sheer Petal. So it comes in this beautiful refillable packaging, and it feels very luxe. It doesn't have like so much weight to it, but it does have a bit of heaviness to it. Beautiful, sophisticated gold and white packaging. This is refillable, so I picked up, again, the shade Sheer Petal, which is a really beautiful, kind of like mid-tone nude pink. It's not super deep, but it's also not like super nude. I'm actually just going to apply it now because why not? And definitely goes on pinky on the lips. It feels so comfortable. I love that. Feels very similar to like the Chanel Rouge Coco Flashes. Kind of has that kind of comfortability to it. I definitely thought this would be a little bit more nude and not as pink. I thought it'd be more of like a nude pink. This is a little more pink than I thought it would be, but it is really beautiful. I just sometimes struggle with wearing pink lipsticks because my hair is on the warmer side, so sometimes I feel like it clashes. But I think that's really beautiful color. I feel like this will be really nice in the spring and summertime, just for a little bit of a pop of color, but it's not too obnoxious or anything. And then I also picked up a shade, a refill shade, in the shade number 10, Sheer Nude. I feel like this will be more my vibe because it's a nude lipstick, and that's just kind of my go-to. So in comparison, this is definitely more on the nude side. I don't even think you'll really be able to see that, but it just adds like a glossy finish. It's definitely more on the neutral side. This is like a really nice, beautiful nude shade. It doesn't lean too pink, it doesn't lean too brown, and it has a bit of a shimmer to it as well. You can only like subtly detect it, like it's a very soft shimmer. But I'm really excited, like, and again, just wearing this formula, even though it's been like 30 seconds, it feels just so comfortable. It doesn't feel too thick on the lips either. Gives a really nice glossy finish, but not too glossy where it's gonna get like gloopy or anything like that, and it's not thick on the lips. I kind of just want to go over top of that to kind of make this lip not as pink. And you can see a little bit of shimmer on your lips. Again, it's nothing chunky on the lips, but you can detect just a little bit of that shimmer on the lips. Again, just feels really nice and hydrating and not too thick. It has a nice thin formula, which I really love. It has a pretty decent color payoff for it being more of a sheer lipstick. So I feel like I will get so much use out of these in the spring and summer months. I also picked up kind of a similar formula from Dior. So this is the Dior Addict Shine Lipstick in the shade number 100 Nude Look. So this is supposed to offer intense color, and it's supposed to be a hydrating lipstick. So this again is refillable packaging. Seems to be very popular right now. Really beautiful nude. Ooh, I love that nude. That looks like my perfect type of nude. So there is a swatch of it there. Hopefully you can kind of see these. It's a really sunny day out. But again, it's a nude lipstick and it's more glossy, so it goes on the skin a little bit more sheer. So you can't really get a ton of payoff when you see it on my hand. But this looks beautiful. That perfect pinky nude shade that is just great for an everyday look. And I can't wait to kind of compare those hybrid lipsticks that are like a lipstick lip gloss. I want to see what the comparison between these two will be and which one I end up or ultimately reach for more often. And then I just have a few more things. So I also picked up from Chanel the Rouge Cocoa Gloss in the shade number 726 Icing. So I just decided to pick up this gloss, which is a super milky shade. You won't even be able to see it if I swatch it because it's essentially a clear lip gloss. Yeah, you can't detect that. It basically just gives shine to my lips. And I just thought this would be really pretty for layering over top of lip liners. Sometimes when I put on a lip liner, I like to just wear a gloss and go, but sometimes lip liners go on a little bit too deep. So I like to lighten them up. So I thought this would be perfect to kind of lighten up the lip liner a bit and just add some comfortability over top of a lip liner. Just thought this would be a great option. So I'm excited to test that one out. I already know that I love the Chanel Rouge Cocoa Gloss formula though. And then I also picked up the Chanel Le Rouge Duo Ultra Tenue Ultrawear Liquid Lip Color. Gosh, these names. In the shade number 397 Mary Rose. So I have two shades, the Endless Pink and Is It Intense Nude. Both of those were limited edition shades and I don't think you can get either of them now. And so I wanted a permanent color, but all the colors are like quite deep. They're a little more on the brownie nude side, which isn't my favorite. And then I just discovered this one, Mary Rose. I haven't heard too many people talk about this shade in particular. It's definitely more on the nude side, if you can tell. And I just love a nude lipstick, and I thought this would be a nice one to try. It might be like too nude. I'm not sure how this will be. You can't really even see it again because it is so nude. But I'm really excited to test this one out, and hopefully I will enjoy it. I already know I really like this formula. Now, I am not someone who enjoys this formula on an everyday basis. This is something I will utilize for more special occasions or if I'm going out. If I do want something long wearing, this is a formula that I would pick to wear because it's the only liquid lipstick that I like. It is just so comfortable. I don't even want to call it a liquid lipstick because I feel like that makes it sound bad and makes it sound trying, but it is absolutely not. If you're looking for something for like photographs for a wedding, something like a sit-down dinner, because this actually doesn't transfer, this is a great formula. So I can't wait to try out this shade. I hope it ends up looking nice on me. You never know with lipsticks because sometimes if they're too nude, they'll just look a little obnoxious. But I can't wait to test all this makeup out. I hope you guys enjoyed this haul. Let me know all the products that you picked up. Did you pick up anything from the Sephora VIP sale? Or I know so many other brands have been just having 20% off sales or 25% off sales and stuff like that. So I'd love to know what you have been picking up, and hopefully you enjoyed this haul. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I will see you in my next video.